process that I know that not everybody uses it, and not everybody, there's a lot of filmmakers out there, a lot of people that do animations, all the way from idea to writing to production to post-production. This is something that I do a lot of, and with over 20 years of doing this, each time was just, if within scope and budget, if it called for a storyboard artist, that's somebody that I would either hire out or do myself as an illustrator. But that it just takes a lot of time, takes a lot of weeks, takes a lot of back and forth and things like that. So what I loved about Chat, and this particularly was a client of mine that I did a long time ago, actually it was 2 months ago, to be able to do this quicker, to get a response, was what I was looking for, because storyboarding, it does take, a week or two to do, but we condensed that down to, half of a week or something like that. So given all the back and forth from the client and things like that. And then sometimes budget doesn't really call for us to do this, but I knew that I needed this from our perspective that would help us to take the script to what kind of shot selections we were going to do. And then also this would help out, production crew to even the producer trying to line up with the cinematographer to say, this is the type of shot that we're looking for, get that up front. So whenever I show up for directing, they're kind of like a step, with me or ahead of me to understand the lay of the land and things like that. So given that's a lot of detail under the hood of the actual practical production, what I found fascinating about this was really it's really what Nathan was doing last week and what we've been doing for the past 3 weeks was really just building a foundation on how to use ChatGPT within a scenario like this. So you can insert, hey, Chat, I need you to help me with the script part of this, or I need you to build out this content for social or things like that. So we're really just trying to understand, like, get something that we love and we do, and see if that can translate into what you guys are doing, whether it's creating emails, responding to emails, producing social media, or really in the thick of it is something like this that can help your team to understand and get fast results. And I always say, it's incredible to fail fast, early. If you can do that with no judgment and a belief in a crew and your system, I think that you can come with, to the table with better quality work. And I think that's something that AI, to me, it's not I call it a phase 4, where everybody wants the website, everybody wants the design, everybody wants that, just give me that thing. But to me, it's about the journey. It's how much that we can learn from this, from beginning to whenever we start to be the makers. So that production is just as important as putting a pixel for that logo. But we need to tell a story before we get there. So I wanted to visually show you that today to see that. To me, it's a comfort level of just understanding the tools. Just like anything, when Google first arrived, it was a tool, so it's something that I really wanted to really hit home, to say these are just tools for us to get to where we needed to go faster. And if we can just rely on that for us to prompt it and us to have those journeys together, we'll come up with the meat, the good things towards the end, and everybody can have those celebratory wins of, hey, we did this is how it is, so what's the next one? So we condense down our timeline to be able to do more, faster. So today, what you're going to need is just ChatGPT installed, or on your phone or anything like that. And I'm working specifically with DALL-E, and DALL-E is the engine that is the image generator for ChatGPT. So there's two spaces of that. There's the written form, then there's the visual form. So DALL-E is one of those engines in a competitive space, just like Midjourney and all those others. But you can see where I really wanted to focus attention on a certain style. So this is actually what we're going to be doing. We're going to do a text prompt, and everything, I've done it beforehand. So I'll just copy and paste and see what it gives us. And then from that, if we start to understand how we can build the system, then we can take it over to our favorite application that's going to, make a PDF of this so we can take it to the client to get approval and things like that. But I really wanted to show the front end a little bit more. And if you missed last week, Nathan, it was either last week or the week before, Nathan went into Chat GPT and started making our own GPT. So, and what that means is we can make our, and I call them workspaces, because GPTs is kind of, I know it's Chat GPT, but workspace, like this is my storyboard workspace. I have email workspace, I have other like photography workspace, and even client workspace, so specifically for clients. But I wanted to make a workspace to do a custom GPT that went in there. And what I wanted to do was something that I was always typing or prompting. I wanted to really just reduce it to say, hey, let me go ahead and tell you this custom GPT in this workplace, we are doing black and white storyboard style imagery in a aspect ratio of 16:9. So I don't have to keep typing that. And I learned the hard way because when I first did it, before Nathan taught me this, I had to do all that. And it's a learning curve. It's one of those things where it's like you get frustrated, whenever you do a prompt and it's square format. But you use, as an artist, you use what you want to do. So knowing that, I can do these by hand, I know how to take it to Photoshop or, Figma or whatever to put it into that template. And again, these aren't really like for me to have award-winning work. This is for me to get the concept across to the client to make a decision quicker. So we'll do the prompt. We'll see what it renders, and if we have to reprompt it or anything like that, that's good. And then we'll take all that over to I use Illustrator, but I can use Photoshop or Figma, it doesn't matter. But to kind of set it up that way. Now, again, this is for storyboarding for production, and there's some people here that do that. But think about this in your own work, your work style, whether it's an email. I really will encourage you guys to do custom GPTs for custom things that you want a different personality, a different voice, all those things, and just start stacking them to the left of your screen. To start to, you'll see it over here. I have all these different things that are going on that I can go to, and just make sure that if it's a client, I'll name it a client, so that way we can go in there and finish that project. So here we are in chat, and just like I'll do this really quickly, but if you go over to Explore GPTs, you can get a custom, you can create a custom one, but I want to go in specifically to my GPT that I created for the storyboard illustration. So you can do a custom, create it, and then what's going to happen is going to give you the configure tab or the create tab. I'll stick into the configure because that's more manual, but this is where I put all the details. Again, I need it black and white, 16:9, and things like that. And even so, if I want a specific style of storyboarding to get the point across, this is where we can do that. We can actually throw in down here at the bottom in your prompt to, you can sketch it yourself, or you can find something on Shutterstock that's kind of looks like something really quickly. Again, this is just to get the idea across. We're not going to frame this or anything like that. Storyboardings are really, really crude. And just to give you a couple examples of that, here's my evolution. I think it's 2018 is up here. There's some storyboards that I did, but sometimes they're just quick thumbnails, just to get the point across. This was a puppet video that we shot that had right of this paper. Here's the script, and the description was happening. And then I actually was like, I don't need to spend too much time on this. It's puppets. We just need to see like what the frames are going to be. I think I actually drew this on my iPad with using Sketch or something like that. And I took all those frames and actually put it into this layout. But you can see like sometimes you just need to be really, really crude and just get the gist of it, and this is going to paint the picture for the actual cinematographer, the client, to say, okay, that looks good, or, I don't really like this, or, if we get into details, maybe we don't see the words on there, but and it just helps, paint that story a little bit better, to get sign off and to know that we're taking this tool towards production, and this is our Bible for the day of production. So that's kind of I did a couple of puppet ones, and there's a lot of notes on the side that I put up there to say close up as a director and things like that. And all this is really crucial. And sometimes you can get away with it, and you can, if you're on set or something like that, but a lot of art directors and would be there to help with cinematographers to help push that a little bit. And the cinematographer can look at it and say, hey, in order to get that shot, I need to change to this lens. So they're making these reactions, even before set or on set, and they're giving the director, do you guys like this look? Here's a plate with some pizza on it. Does it need to be macro or tight? So we're illustrating that message there, or collaborating to say, hey, you see this is what I see, and you make this quick judgments for storyboarding. Sometimes, this is something that I designed. They want to see it, what it looks like as far as the board's concerned. So it's not really hand-drawn, but it's illustrated, and things like that. So to go in and to start to show a little bit of what's happening, you're doing a little bit of that illustration. So if you give it to the motionographer that's going to put this together, you're actually building the scenes and giving them the tools to go in there and start to do all this motion. So sometimes like a 2-for-1 there. And then here's something a little bit more, I just sketched it out really quickly. I think this was on Illustrator. I just did it really quickly. This was 2018. Again, you get the concept. So this took a lot of work, hand work and things like that. And I love, to kind of step away from the computer and do this type of work, because I can, distance myself from being digital all the time and just be organic. And I introduce that in a lot of work that I do. So it helps me to do that, but it takes a lot of time, right? And here's another illustrated style for that one. And then this is kind of the concept that I did. This was, sorry, I think this was in 2019. So before chat and all those, I was kind of doing this already. I'd go to Shutterstock, find something kind of similar, and I would take it into Photoshop and do like a filter effect that would make it look storyboardish. The reason why, and it's all black and white, is I don't want clients to be married to a specific color, style, or anything. And I wanted to make it very, very, very crude, so we can just focus on, okay, that kind of makes sense, because we have to reproduce that, live with, on production day. So wanted to take that, strip it all down. Sometimes, sketches are cool too, to convey that idea, but we're mainly looking at, the right column here of the script and what we're seeing. And then, hey, it's great that we see vials. We understand we're going to see vials. I don't know what that looks like, and we might need to go get that footage. But that's the story there. And then finally, just recently, this is what we call a production pack. So this is what we're sending to, Trevor's online right now. We'll send over to Trevor and all these people and things like that are running the show, and get all their contacts for the day of and things like that, all the way down to, this is the shot selections, what we're doing, all the way down to the actors, and I'll do like a little write-up. This is all Chat GPT, having a little write-up of our character. That helps us understand from a director, when we're on set and he reads this is what we're shooting for. So we had to come to that moment up front, get sign off, and just bounce it around a little bit. Like, okay, he needs to be quirky like this. We want him to be very Kramer-esque and things like that. So that's in there too, with all of our characters. And then all the way down to wardrobe, what that could be. So we just find that, we ask chat to kind of see, here's the person, this is style, go and what could fit something like that. So we fact check it, we see it, does it feel good? Yes, we add to it, and we get approval that way. And then also, like, we had to get the house to rent out the house for this. But here's the script. We take the script and we'll take lines like this, and then make the 30-second commercial. But also we'll prompt all those into Chat GPT and say, we need the first one there is a female hand rings the doorbell. We're not specifically looking like for this one, we wanted a Caucasian. The script changed a little bit at the end, but we wanted a Caucasian female. So we kept that theme to say this is what we want. So chat knew every time we wanted that character, it wasn't giving us something wrong. And I think at the beginning of using Midjourney, and I think Nathan could laugh about this, we would see like people with 7 fingers. So we wanted to make sure that we had a little bit of kind of making sure that didn't happen, because we don't want the client to kind of get, hiccup by that and see it and say, well, why does she got 7 fingers? It's like we want to make sure none of that's happening, because again, we're just briefly making sure that are we in alignment here? Can we move forward and things like that? So all this was generated by Chat GPT. It took some work. I think my system and what I do now is a lot easier, knowing that I can go into a custom chat. But this was all, I'm kind of glad I went through this process, because I was able to understand the pain points that I was having and not want to do it again. And that's what AI should help you do, is to be smarter, not just to say it's an easy button, but it should help you to dialogue with it. And Nathan's, today's the first day I actually took my phone and started talking to AI like it was an actual person, like an assistant. So now that I'm doing a lot of that more, I'm saving a lot of time in the back end to be able to think about other things that are more important that I could use my brain towards. So today we're going to just go through a normal, simple process. I wanted to kind of keep it, very, very loose and very, streamlined and very fast, because I think you can ask me questions later, hit me up and things like that. But I really want you guys to understand the really importance of this is do a custom, GPT. And then from then, once you understand what you want, then you can start playing in your sandbox. And then you can just keep going until you find, the ingredients that you need to put this thing in the oven to say, I'm ready to bake. I'm ready to do this. And that's why I feel really, I wake up every morning like excited, like, oh my gosh, it's going to take so much time off of my plate for me to think about strategy, to think about like, how can I partner with somebody with, how do we get this out there and things like that. So I think that's what I'm excited about geeking over is making sure that I can get in there and start to, ask GPT, where can we put this, and just start having this back and forth collaboration before I get into the meeting, before I start to talk about things. So that's what I really, really, really excited about. So with that said, this is our chat, and I put everything in there. This is kind of like the prompt. You can see things like we're in a storyboard sketcher, hand-drawn style, 16:9 aspect ratio. And you can actually take this into GPT and refine it more. You can ask it, say, hey, you can make this sound a lot prettier or maybe more specific. What are we missing here? And you just take that and you put it in here and you just see where it goes. So that's why I was saying you can build this recipe for your liking to say, this satisfies me. Let's just keep going. So I'm going to save this. Okay. So I started working on it a little bit. Let's see if I can get there. Yeah. And I'll go back to the beginning because I was afraid that GPT would be slow today. And I wouldn't have enough time to kind of put this in. So I kind of did a little bit more. And specifically in my GPT, what I love as a creative director and a producer, again, it's not something that I just want to set it and forget it and have the easy button and just it spits out a storyboard piece, a frame or something like that. Because for me, I need to articulate this and actually talk to the client on why we're seeing what we're seeing. And GBT, what I did in the prompt was to give me these indicators. Like I want to know what I'm a foreground, background, shooter. I like things in the foreground for a reason, to frame things up nicely. I think that, through all my movie watching experiences and things like that, I really love depth. So that makes me unique in the things that I look at. So I wanted to be able to speak on that behalf if there's an opportunity for me to do that. So I wanted to put out these prompts, and you'll see it numbered 1 through 5. these are important things to me. So you can do that too. You can say, well, I love foreground, or I love coloring, or I love this, and I really want you to tell me what I could possibly say to articulate why you gave me what you gave me. Because what we're doing is we're taking all this and we're going straight to the client and saying, this is where we ended. This is the journey that we had in the round one of storyboarding, and that you have the confidence to talk about every frame. Why? Because you prompted it ahead of time, and that's what's dear to you. That's what you love, and that's what I want everybody to remember. Is like, again, it's not a set it and forget it. It's the reason why. We want to understand why we got there. So it's like storytelling. So that person can say, this is why we're doing this. I fell in love with the piece because I know all the backgrounds. So you can do that with sending an email, your website, or anything like that. If you prompt it and say, give me a little bit more to speak on the behalf of why we chose this hero image. Not just because I think back in the days, it's like, oh, we need a hero image. We need this. And it's like, well, copy hasn't sent me anything. Well, what are we all about? Can we go back to, some brand points to help us get there? And can you get there faster, at least to put it out there so we can have a red light, green light, or a yellow light so we can talk about it. And that's what I love about this is I prompted it to say, I need to know about foreground focus, interior details, lighting. That's something that I can talk to the cinematographer if I'm directing, or even talk to a director that way. Outside view, what do we see in the outside? That's really like, if there's something there that I didn't see before, because I might scratch it. It's like, it's not important, it's not relevant. Or emotional tone, things like that, to say, we want this frame. It might be a second, it might be 3 seconds, but we want it to feel this or represent this. So I asked GPT to do all that writing for me, not for me to just copy and paste, but for me to react to it, for me to say, does that make sense? Is that something that I can bring to the table whenever we talk about this, to say, this is the reason why this shot works? Very, very cool thing to have right there, that it's almost like pitching. You're going to be able to do this really well at the very beginning, and not just say, here it is, but you'll be able to speak bolder, to be excited, to show your excitement through this, because you're actually building the story as we go before anybody can see it. And that's what kind of turns me on, if you will. So again,
And Carlos, I just want to interject here.
yeah,
Maybe before we jump into one of the next sections, or while I'm doing my demo, if there's any of the actual GPT prompt itself, or the builder part of the configurator, sharing some of that in the chat, or at least parts of that, so that users who watch the recording later can also see. It doesn't have to be now, but while I'm doing mine,
yeah,
maybe specific. And also one just reminder of our time as we go through this, so we can jump into other areas. Awesome.
yeah. So this is, at the very beginning, I said, just give me a scene of an African American driving a car. The POV is that we're looking at the car, the driver. That was it. And that's what came out. And I'm like, whoa, that's some power right there. It's a little much, but if I'm going to read it and spend the time to do this, that's what I wanted. If I didn't want it, the I can use the description it gave me and start working from there to say, cut this back a little bit, or add this, put a cat in there, yada, yada, yada. So I did that a couple times, and I was really happy with what this is. And no, I didn't prompt it. That was Chris Rock. But yeah, so I did that a couple times, but I wanted to take like small sentences, small things, and seeing how much bigger I can make it. So here's something that I struggled with. I was trying to look for a cubicle scene, but it kept on, pulling back. So I went in there, I said, zoom in a little bit, do things like that until, it was a scene that I wanted really quickly. So you have the power to do that. It's all about prompting. And here's like, okay, now we're in the scene right now, we're in the cubicle. So all that is really just simple prompts. It really is. And you're going to fail, but you're going to get what you need pretty much. And the cool thing about that is, if you don't get what you need, I'm going to show you something down at the bottom. So Nathan, I last week, he just took a screenshot of something and dumped it in here, and I said, "This is me, really, really, not much detail. I need a scene like this for my storyboards." So all it is a city scene. It's got watermarks on it. I got it from Shutterstock. I have a Shutterstock account, but you can scour the internet again. this is just to show like ideas. We're not winning awards, we're not posting this or anything like that. So then it gave me this, and I was like, whoa, that made me really think outside the box. So you can do things like that. And I took something like, here's a doctor, a female doctor, and a female patient, one sentence, and it gave me this. Now I can use that. I can do something with that. So there's a lot of power there. So what are you going to do after this? Once you go through your whole script, and remember, I showed you a script that was like from beginning to end. You can take all those descriptions from a writer and just plug it into here and see what comes close. And you're going to get something pretty remarkable, I believe. So once I do that, um, we're going to drop this template for anyone to use, but I use this all the time, and I'll put the script over here and the detail in this column. But basically in Illustrator, I'm just dropping in those. Let me do one real quick. Yeah, let's just take this one. We'll download it. And usually I organize all this, like if GPT or DALL-E gives us a description as the file name, but I'll usually take it, and if it's my first scene, I'll just say O1. So I'm working with O1 there. So what I do is I just take this and just drop it into Illustrator. Oh, I did something wrong. I think I know what I did wrong. Bear with me, my keyboard went down, so I'm using a little small Mac keyboard, so I'm missing some things. So if I took a JPEG, once it gives me a JPEG, what I can do is just take that and just drop it in to the scene, make it as small as I can. And I have it already made to, what you do is I cut this from the clipboard, so Command X, and then I'll take this image here and double click on it, and then get rid of it, and then paste back into that scene. So now you're actually putting it in to the storyboard like that, so it fits really nicely. And then I usually just duplicate that and put it down at the bottom. Yeah. But and then also within the templates, you have the ability to put these arrows, and that would help out like any kind of production crew to say, or camera crew to say, okay, we need this to track up, or to go down, or to go left to right, or something like that. So really cool tool. I love it. It's really excellent. Just kind of a snapshot. I know there's more that can go on there, but you can hit me up on this. And yeah, I think this is awesome. And I'd like to hear you guys' feedback if this could work, and use this through like other things like email and and producing social media imagery and things like that.